My entire student life, Lin Lim had always strictly adhered to two words: rules and exemplary student. Her goal was Tsinghua University. But everything went up in smoke on that fateful day when she accidentally spilled an iced coffee all over the pure black t-shirt of Kai Tan, the school's notorious leader. The noisy cafeteria suddenly fell silent. I swear, the sound of that plastic cup hitting the floor was louder than the collective breathing of 100 people. "Where did you put your damn eyes, huh?" The blonde minion next to him roared, pointing a finger at my face. I took a deep breath. There was a little fear, but Lin Lim could lose my calm but never my dignity. I looked straight up at the boy in front of me. Kai Tan, he was a whole head taller than me. He truly was handsome. Narrow, phoenix-like eyes, a straight nose, thin lips only, his gaze was too cold, like ice from 1,000 years. His black t-shirt, now stained with coffee, clung to his solid chest. I ignored the blonde minion and looked straight at Kai Tan. "I'm sorry, I wasn't careful. How much is your shirt? I'll pay for it." The blonde minion was about to yell again, but Kai Tan raised a hand, stopping him. The entire cafeteria held its breath, waiting for the King of Hell's verdict. Rumor had it that Kai Tan never went easy on anyone. He stared at me for a few seconds, a piercing gaze that made me tremble slightly. Then, he quirked a faint smile. "No need." He brushed past me and walked away. The blonde minion shot me a scorching glare before scurrying after him. Only then did the air in the cafeteria dare to circulate again. Just then, the school's beauty queen, also my nominal childhood friend and deskmate, Haley Zia, rushed over. Her face was full of worry. "Lin, are you okay? Oh my God, why did you have to run into Kai Tan? He's terrifying. How about I go talk to him for you? My dad is one of the school's sponsors, after all." I brushed her hand away. "No need, I spilled it myself, I'll take responsibility myself." I hated Haley Zia's living bodhisattva act the most. Back in class, my best friend, Chloe Zhao, immediately pulled me into a corner. "Are you insane? Of all people to mess with, you had to mess with Kai Tan. I heard that last week. A guy from 11th grade just looked at him the wrong way and got his arm broken. He's still in the hospital." I frowned. "Exaggeration, the school has cameras." Chloe shook her head. "Cameras? Those are useless against Kai Tan. His family has huge backing. You need to be careful. I heard his fangirls are even crazier." I waved my hand. "Got it, now focus on studying." I tried to concentrate on my physics textbook, but Kai Tan's image lingered, not out of fear, but because of his eyes. Chloe Zhao's premonition was indeed not wrong. After school, I declined Chloe's offer to walk home together because it was my turn for cleaning duty. By the time I walked out the back gate with my backpack, it was almost 6 p.m. I was stopped. It wasn't Kai Tan, but a group of heavily made-up girls in uniforms, their skirts torn short, led by a purple-haired queen bee. "You're Lin Lim," the queen bee chewed gum, arms crossed. I took a step back, clutching my backpack straps. "That's me, what do you want?" "What do we want?" the queen bee smirked. "You've got guts, don't you? Daring to spill coffee on my Kai." So it was about this. I exhaled in relief. If it was just a group of girls, I could handle it. It was an accident. I already apologized. "Apology is enough?" A red-haired girl next to her shoved my shoulder. "Do you even know that shirt was a limited edition? Can you afford to pay for it?" My face went cold. "So, what do you want?" "To hit you," the purple-haired queen bee clapped. "Smart, today I'll teach you what not to mess with." She raised her hand, aiming straight for my face. I squeezed my eyes shut, bracing myself for a slap. But the pain never came. I opened my eyes. A strong arm had seized the purple-haired queen bee's wrist. It was Kai Tan. I didn't know when he'd appeared. He was still in his morning uniform, but his tie was loose and the top button of his shirt was undone. He stood against the light, his handsome face half obscured by shadow. Kai," the purple-haired queen bee trembled, her face drained of color. "Why are you here?" Kai Tan didn't look at her. His gaze was fixed on me. "Not home yet?" His voice was hoarse, a hint of displeasure. I just wanted to teach this girl a lesson for you," the queen bee stammered. Kai Tan violently flung her hand away. He spoke one word, but its volume was enough to freeze the entire alley. "Scram!" The girls didn't dare say another word, scrambling away, not forgetting to drag the stunned queen bee with them. The small alley fell silent again. Only he and I remained. I took a breath, adjusting my backpack strap. Thank you, but I can handle myself. Kai Tan raised an eyebrow. He took a step towards me. I instinctively took a step back. He advanced again, I retreated again, until my back hit the cold brick wall. No more retreat. Kai Tan placed a hand on the wall right beside my face. His warm breath fanned my cheek. Lin Lim, he spoke my name, an exemplary student. My heart pounded. He knew my name. He gave a faint smile. This smile was even more dangerous than when he didn't smile at all. In this entire Qingdang High, who doesn't know Lin Lim, the 12th grade academic ace? He leaned closer. We were so close I could count his eyelashes. That shirt. He abruptly changed the subject. I've changed my mind. I swallowed. How much do you want? I don't need money. Then what do you want? I tried to keep my composure. He was silent for a few seconds. His deep eyes locked onto mine. I want you. My mind buzzed. I thought I misheard him. What did you say? I said, his voice was hoarse, I want you. I shoved him hard, but he didn't budge. Are you crazy? Just for a shirt? Not for the shirt. Then for what? I like you. He said these 3 words so lightly, yet they felt like a boulder dropped into my calm lake. Kai? A weak voice echoed from the alley entrance. Both Kai Tan and I turned around. It was Haley Zia. She stood there, eyes red and swollen, clutching her backpack strap, her face looking utterly betrayed. Kai, how could you? Kai Tan glanced at her, his gaze icy. My business has nothing to do with you. He completely ignored Haley Zia, turning back to me. Answer me. Answer what? I was flustered. Be my girlfriend, you're not allowed to refuse. He cut me off. He suddenly grabbed my wrist and pulled me straight forward. Let go, Kai Tan, what's wrong with you? I tried to pull my hand free, but his strength was too great. We brushed past Haley Zia. I could hear her sobbing behind us. Kai Tan dragged me straight to a large black motorcycle parked not far away. Kai Tan let go. I was furious. Being the school leader doesn't give you the right to force people. He suddenly stopped, turned, and pressed me against the side of the motorcycle. Lin Lim, I don't like saying things a second time. Either you agree, or you still have to agree. Huh, is this gangster logic? I glared at him. You. I'm pursuing you. He looked straight into my eyes, his voice terrifyingly serious. Clear. I was stunned. He looked at me for a few seconds, then tossed me a helmet. Get on. I can go home myself. Do you want me to carry you on? I gritted my teeth. I knew he would actually do it. I indignantly put on the helmet and climbed onto the bike. The engine roared and the bike sped off. I instinctively clutched his waist. His body was rigid. Didn't take me home. He stopped at a pharmacy. Stay put. He got off and went inside. 2 minutes later, he came out with a small bag of medicine. He pulled my hand. A small patch of skin on my palm was scraped. It must have happened when I was struggling with those girls earlier. I hadn't even noticed. He opened a bottle of antiseptic and poured it onto a cotton pad. It stung a little. He gently cleaned my wound. I looked at his profile, the evening light softening his sharp features. At this moment, he didn't look like the school leader, but like someone completely different. He put a rabbit-shaped Band-Aid on my hand. A rabbit? I couldn't help it. Your taste is quite unique. He looked up, frowning. My minion only bought this kind. He put away the supplies. Address. I told him my home address. He hummed and got back on the bike. When we arrived at the apartment complex where I lived, I got off and returned the helmet. That, I pointed at the Band-Aid. Thank you. He looked at me. Tomorrow, 7 a.m., I'll pick you up for school. I haven't agreed to be your girlfriend, I stated clearly. I'm not asking for your opinion, he said. I'm just informing you. Kai Tan, don't be unreasonable. I'm used to being unreasonable. He started the engine. Go home, sleep early. The bike sped off, leaving me standing there dumbfounded with the smell of exhaust fumes. What in the world was wrong with this guy? As soon as I entered my apartment, my phone vibrated. A message from an unknown number. Home yet? I frowned. Who is this? Kaitan, where did you get my number? There's nothing I want that I can't get. Kaitan, I'm telling you again, I'm not. Before I could send, sleeping well, he cut me off. I angrily threw my phone onto the bed. So what if he was the school leader? What a tyrant. The next morning, I deliberately woke up late. At 7:15 a.m., I casually strolled downstairs. I thought he would have left. But no, the black motorcycle was still there. Kaitan stood leaning against it, not in uniform, just a white t-shirt and jeans. He wore headphones, eyes closed, his foot tapping to the music. The morning sun shone on him, so handsome it took my breath away. Hearing my footsteps, he opened his eyes and took off his headphones. 15 minutes late. I choked. Why are you still here? He raised an eyebrow. Waiting for you. I looked at Kaitan. He raised an eyebrow. Waiting for you? My heart skipped a beat. This guy really waited 15 minutes just to pick me up for school. I can go by myself. I tried to salvage my last bit of self-respect. Lin Lim, he said, losing patience. Don't make me say it a third time. He tossed me the helmet. This time I caught it. I gritted my teeth and climbed onto the bike. I swore if it weren't for being late for morning assembly, I'd rather walk all the way. The bike roared, diving into the morning traffic. His speed was too fast, so fast that I instinctively had to cling to his shirt. Hug my waist, his voice cut through the wind. No, he suddenly slammed on the brakes. My entire body lunged forward, hitting his broad, rock-hard back. The scent of mint rushed into my nose. Kaitan, are you crazy? I panicked. He said nothing, just restarted the engine. You have two choices, he said, his voice calm. 1, hug my waist. 2, I'll brake sharply a few more times. This was blatant intimidation. I trembled with anger, but I also knew he would actually do it. I took a deep breath, wrapped my arms around his waist. His waist was very firm, not an ounce of excess fat. Through the t-shirt, I could even feel the scorching heat from his body. My face flushed. Hold tight, he ordered. I squeezed tighter. The bike sped off again, this time even faster. When Kaitan's infamous black motorcycle stopped in front of Qingdang High School, time seemed to stand still. All eyes, from the student on morning duty with his attendance book to the security guard to the bread vendor, were glued to us. I quickly slid off the bike, took off my helmet, and tried to maintain distance from him. Thanks, I mumbled, wanting nothing more than to disappear into the ground. Kaitan also got off the bike, removing his helmet. He ruffled his slightly messy black hair, his handsome, flawless face looking even more devilish in the morning sun. He paid no attention to our surroundings, reaching out to pinch my cheek. Wait for me after school. I was stunned. He pinched my cheek, in front of the school gate. Kaitan, I snapped, backing away. He just gave a faint smile, a smile with 3 parts arrogance and 7 parts dominance. He turned, hands in his pockets, and casually walked towards the high school section. I stood there, frozen. Lin Lim, Chloe Zhao's piercing scream pulled me back to reality. She rushed over, grabbing my shoulders and shaking me hard. Are you crazy? What's going on? Why were you on Kaitan's bike? And he pinched your cheek? Earth-shattering news, super earth-shattering news. Pulling her hand, let's get to class first. With that, I almost ran into the classroom. Whispers followed me down the hallway. Oh my God, look. It's Lin Lim from 12A1, the academic ace. Is she also trying to climb the social ladder? I can't believe she dared to ride with Kaitan. Yesterday, I heard she spilled coffee on Kai. Is this some kind of bitter strategy? I clenched my backpack strap. These words were even more unpleasant than the purple-haired queen bee's slap yesterday. As soon as I stepped into 12A1, the noisy classroom immediately fell silent. All eyes were on me, and the center of attention was none other than Haley Zia. She sat at her desk, eyes swollen and red, clearly having cried a lot. As soon as she saw me, her tears streamed down again. She suddenly stood up. Lin! Her voice was both aggrieved and disbelieving. I stopped at my desk, right next to hers. What is it? How could you do that? Haley Zia sobbed. I know you didn't mean to, but Kai, she spoke incoherently, but enough for the whole class to understand that I had done something terrible. I put my backpack down. Haley Zia, speak clearly. What did I do? You're still asking me? She cried louder. We grew up together. I considered you my best friend. I've liked Kai for so many years. You're the one who knows best. How could you seduce him? Oh, I said, and the class began to buzz. What? Haley Zia likes Kai Tan. Lin Lim knew and still interfered. What kind of best friend is that? I can't believe the academic ace is actually a green tea bitch. I looked at Haley Zia, my eyes growing cold. First, I never heard you say you liked Kai Tan. Best friend? I smirked. Haley Zia, count how many sentences you've spoken to me in a month, besides borrowing my notes. Haley Zia's face froze. I continued, not giving her a chance to interrupt. Second, I didn't seduce anyone. He came to me himself. He came to you? Haley Zia seemed to grasp a lifeline. That's right, you must have used some kind of trick. Lin, Kai isn't like that, you must have forced him. I almost burst out laughing. I forced Kai Tan? The logic of the beauty queen was indeed unlike ordinary people. Haley Zia, I growled. If you like him, go tell him yourself. Don't drag me and your cheap dramas into this. I need to study for Tsinghua. I don't have time for you. Haley Zia's face went from pale to fiery red with anger. Just then, our homeroom teacher walked in. What's all this noise in class? The college entrance exam is coming up. Haley Zia sat down indignantly, turning her face away, her shoulders trembling. The entire lesson, I could feel countless eyes stabbing into my back. During the break, my class, 12A1, was on the 3rd floor. Kai Tan's class, 12A10, was on the 1st floor, two completely different worlds. I was trying to solve a tough integral problem when my classroom door was kicked open. Bang! The entire class jumped. Kai Tan stood right in the doorway, still in his morning clothes, hands in his pockets, a lazy expression yet full of imposing pressure. Even the math teacher who was lecturing had to swallow. Kai Tan, is something wrong? Did you get the wrong classroom? Kai Tan ignored the teacher. He scanned the room, his gaze stopping at my desk, then he walked straight in. Amidst dozens of astonished gazes, he walked directly to my desk. Haley Zia, next to me, held her breath, her eyes sparkling with anticipation. He stopped, then tossed a strawberry milk carton onto my desk. Thud. Drink it. His voice was low. Haven't eaten anything this morning, have you? I was bewildered. The entire class, including the teacher, gaped. Kai Tan didn't look at me. He turned to Haley Zia, who was stunned. You, he frowned. Change seats. Haley Zia stammered. Kai, what did you say? I said, get out of this seat. I want to sit here. Haley Zia's face went chalk white. This was public humiliation. This is a classroom, I quickly said. I don't care. Kai Tan looked at me. Do you want her to leave or do you want to come with me? I looked at Haley Zia, who was trembling. She looked at me with pleading eyes mixed with resentment. I took a breath. You go outside first. This is my class. Kai Tan stared at me for a few seconds. He then gave a slight chuckle. All right, you've got guts. He turned to the male student at the desk in front of mine, the one who had been gossiping about me the loudest. You. Kai Tan gestured with his chin. What were you saying just now? The student trembled like a leaf. I didn't say anything. Lin Lim is my person, Kai Tan declared, his voice not loud, but the entire hallway could hear him. From now on, if I hear anyone say a single bad word about her. He stopped, picked up the thick physics textbook from the boy's desk. And crush it. He meant he crushed the spine of the book with one hand. Your necks will end up like this too. He threw the book to the floor, turned, and walked away, leaving a stunned classroom behind. The math teacher nervously adjusted her glasses. Let's continue the lesson. But no one could swallow a single word. Chloe Zhao texted me. OMG girl. Kai Tan publicly declared his ownership. The school forum just exploded. I looked at the strawberry milk carton on my desk. My head was pounding. At lunchtime, I deliberately went to the cafeteria very late, hoping to avoid the storm. As I was carrying my tray and sitting down in a secluded corner, another tray was slammed down opposite me. Kai Tan. The noisy cafeteria once again fell silent. How did you know I was here? I asked wearily. He didn't answer. He looked at my tray all vegetables, then at his tray all meat. Then, under the gaze of the entire school, he did something no one could have imagined. He swapped trays. "You're too skinny, eat mine." He picked up a piece of spare rib and put it in my bowl. I looked at the pile of meat in front of me. "I don't like fatty meat." "No fat, eat it," he ordered. I was about to protest when a trembling voice spoke up. "Kai, Lynn." It was Haley Zia again. She carried her tray, her eyes red and swollen, standing by our table. Kai-tan finally looked up. He looked at her. "Annoying," just one word. Haley Zia stumbled back as if she had been slapped across the face. She then turned to me, her voice rising. "Lin Lim, it's you. You stole my Kai, you shameless best friend. What tricks did you use on him, huh?" She almost screamed, and the entire cafeteria heard her. All eyes turned to me, this time filled with criticism and outrage. I gripped my chopsticks tightly and stood up abruptly. "Haley Zia, watch your words." "Am I wrong?" she cried. "If it wasn't for you, how could Kai treat me like this? She couldn't finish her sentence. Kai-tan stood up. He pulled me behind him. He looked directly at Haley Zia, his gaze so cold it could kill. "Shut up," he said. "I, Kai-tan, have never known who Haley Zia is, but Lin Lim," he grabbed my hand and raised it for everyone to see, "is my person." He swept his eyes across the entire cafeteria. "Listen carefully. Anyone who dares to lay a finger on her, I'll cripple them." The whole school held its breath. He said nothing more, pulling my hand and walking straight out of the cafeteria. Kai-tan let go. I tried to yank my hand free. "What the hell are you doing? Your person." He dragged me to a secluded corner behind the gym. He suddenly spun around and pressed me against the wall. The distance was as close as yesterday. "You tell me," his voice was hoarse. "I don't know." "Then let me tell you." He leaned down and he kissed me. My mind went blank for 3 seconds. Kai-tan's kiss was cold but carried a scorching heat, an irresistible invasion. In the moment my brain rebooted, my only reaction was to slap him. Smack! A sharp, resounding sound echoed in the small alley. My hand trembled from the force of the slap. Kai-tan's left cheek bore a red mark of 5 fingertips. The air froze. Kai-tan was stunned. He raised his hand and lightly touched the cheek that had just been slapped. He wasn't angry, he just tilted his head and looked at me, his eyes deep and inscrutable. Then, the corner of his mouth quirked upwards. He lightly licked the tiny cut at the corner of his lips from my slap. "Your lips. They taste like strawberry." I was stunned. You're like the strawberry milk I bought you," he said, his voice hoarse, carrying a dangerous implication. I backed away, my back hitting the wall hard. "Kai-tan, you hooligan, you're crazy. You're the first person who dared to slap me." He took a step forward, pressing me against the wall again. His body heat enveloped me again. "Get away," I pushed hard against his chest. His chest was as hard as steel. "Answer me." He gripped both my wrists, pinning them against the wall. "First kiss." My face flushed crimson. "None of your business." He chuckled. "I can tell from your expression." "Kai-tan," I almost screamed. "What the hell are you doing? You've messed everything up. How am I supposed to live in this school? Do you know what you just did in the cafeteria?" I was so angry that tears almost welled up. The image of the exemplary student I had built for 12 years was shattered in just one lunch break. Kai-tan's eyes suddenly turned cold when he saw I was close to tears. "Haley Zia dared to bully you? That's my business. You're my person," he growled. "So that's my business." "I'm not." "Sooner or later you will be." He stared at me. "Lin Lim, listen carefully. In this Kingdang High, if you want to live peacefully, there's only one way: stand by my side." That's gangster logic." "You can think of it that way." He released my hands. "I'll let you off today, but if I see you avoiding me again..." He paused, the implicit threat clear. He adjusted his collar, looked me over. "Lips are swollen, use this to cover it." He handed me a black surgical mask. When did he prepare that? He turned and walked away. I stood there, leaning against the wall, my legs weak. I put on the mask, covering my still burning and swollen lips. When I returned to class, 12A1 was eerily silent. Haley Zia was back at her desk, her face buried in her arms, sobbing. A few girls surrounded her, comforting her. As soon as they saw me walk in, all eyes were on me. This time, it wasn't just curiosity, it was hatred. "You still dare to come back?" The class representative, who always acted righteous, slammed his hand on the table. "Lin Lim, you made Haley Zia cry this much. Are you satisfied?" No, Lin Lim," another girl said. "We never thought you were this kind of person. Stealing your best friend's boyfriend? Aren't you ashamed?" I clenched my fists. First, Haley Zia is not my best friend. Second, Kai Tan is not her boyfriend. Third, Kai Tan is your boyfriend, right? The class rep sneered. "So what if you're an academic ace? Aren't you just using tricks to climb up?" I took a breath. I don't have an obligation to explain myself to you all. I walked straight to my seat. Haley Zia looked up, her rabbit-like eyes brimming with tears. "Lin, give Kai back to me, I beg you." I looked at her coldly. "Haley Zia, stop acting, it's exhausting." She choked. My phone vibrated. It was Chloe Zhao. "OMG girl, it's over, it's really over." The school forum exploded. Top 1, the century kiss of the school leader and the academic goddess, with a secretly filmed video from the gym's secluded corner. Top 2, academic ace Lin Lim is actually a high-class green tea bitch. Top 3, Haley Zia the bodhisattva stabbed in the back by her best friend. My head was pounding. I didn't even know someone filmed it. "Chloe, what's wrong? Are you really with Kai Tan?" I hung up. At the end of the afternoon, my homeroom teacher called me to his office. The 12th grade homeroom teacher was notoriously strict. He looked at me with disappointment. "Lin Lim, tell me, what's going on?" I pursed my lips. "Sir, the things on the forum." "The forum? I don't care about the forum." The teacher slammed his hand on the desk. "You are Tsinghua's seed student, the hope of the entire school. How could you get involved with Kai Tan?" "I'm not." "Not," he pointed out the window. "Look." I looked down. In the schoolyard, the familiar black motorcycle. Kai Tan stood leaning against the bike, one foot on the ground, holding his phone, clearly waiting for me. "Lin Lim," the homeroom teacher's voice was weary. "I know Kai Tan comes from a powerful family, the school dares not touch him, but you are different. You are the future. Don't ruin your life for a moment's recklessness. Stay away from him." I bowed my head. "Yes, sir." "Go, think carefully." I walked out of the office, my heart heavy. I went down to the schoolyard, deliberately walking around to the back gate. I had only walked a few steps when a strong force pulled me into the adjacent alley. Kai Tan again. "Where are you going?" His voice was displeased. "I told you to wait for me." I irritably pulled my hand away from him. "Kai Tan, what exactly do you want? Do you see how miserably you've ruined me? My homeroom teacher called me in to scold me. The whole school is boycotting me. Are you satisfied?" He frowned. "Who dares to boycott you?" "You," I backed away. "I beg you, just leave me alone. I just want to peacefully study for Tsinghua. We're not in the same world." Kai Tan stared at me. He suddenly asked, "What did the homeroom teacher say?" "It has nothing to do with you." He took out his phone. "Hello, Blondie, go to the 12th grade office. Invite the homeroom teacher down here. Say Kai Tan wants to see him." I panicked. "Are you crazy? What are you planning to do?" I snatched his phone. "Don't call." He looked at me. "Are you worried about me or about him?" "I'm worried about you." He sighed, hung up. "All right, no call." He ruffled my hair, an extremely intimate gesture that made me freeze. "Go home." He drove me home again. All the way, I said nothing. The next day was the monthly mock exam, physics. This was my best subject. I finished the exam very quickly and confidently. I submitted my paper almost first. But when the results were announced that afternoon, Lin Lim, 35,100. The entire 12A1 was stunned, then turned to mockery. Oh, the academic goddess only got 35 points. Busy dating the school leader, no time to study. Must have cheated and still messed up. Haley Zia rushed over, her face anxious. "Lin, what happened? Are you okay, or was the test too hard?" Her score was 92,100. I didn't believe it. I ran straight to the physics office. "Teacher, there must be a mistake with my exam." The physics teacher looked at me. "Lin Lim, here's your paper." He handed me the exam paper. I was stunned. That exam paper wasn't mine. The multiple choice questions were all over the place. The essay portion, the handwriting wasn't mine. It was scribbled, even had a smiley face drawn on it. "This isn't my paper," I screamed. "My paper was swapped." The physics teacher frowned. "Lin Lim, what are you talking about? This paper has your name, your student ID number. I even thought you were dating lately, so." "It wasn't me," I trembled. "Someone framed me. Teacher, check the cameras. There are cameras in the exam room." The physics teacher shook his head. "Yesterday, the cameras were all broken. This entire hallway lost signal." "Broken? How can it be such a coincidence?" I staggered. 35 points in physics. My overall score would plummet disastrously. My Tsinghua dream. Just then the office door was kicked open. Bang! Kaitan, he walked straight in, throwing a USB stick onto the desk. The cameras weren't broken. Someone just covered them. The physics teacher trembled. Kaitan. "Plug it in," Kaitan ordered. The teacher nervously plugged in the USB. A video appeared. It was a shot from the hallway camera, but a different angle. The video clearly showed the moment of submission. I submitted my paper, and immediately after, Haley Zia submitted hers. She deliberately bumped into the stack of exam papers, causing a few to fall. While the teacher bent down to pick them up, she swiftly pulled out my exam paper from the top and swapped in another paper she had prepared. Everything was as clear as day. The physics teacher was stunned. I turned around. Haley Zia, I didn't know when she had appeared behind me, her face drained of color. "Ha, Haley Zia, how could you?" the physics teacher stammered, trembling. Kaitan stepped forward, standing in front of Haley Zia. He was a head taller than her. "You," his voice was cold as hell. "How do you want to die?" Haley Zia trembled uncontrollably, collapsing to the ground. Kaitan no longer looked at her. He turned to me, who was still stunned. He took my hand and pulled me. He pulled me out of that chaotic office, straight up to the rooftop. The wind on the rooftop was strong. "See," he looked at me. "Without me, you're just a lamb for them to tear apart at will." I was silent. He was right. Without him, I would surely be ruined today. "Kaitan, how did you?" "There's nothing I want to investigate that I can't find out." He looked at me. "Lin Lim, I'm asking you again." He moved closer. "Be my girlfriend." This time, it wasn't coercion. "I'm suggesting," he said, "I'll protect you. You just need to focus on your Tsinghua studies. I'll help you get in." "You'll protect me?" I tried to keep my voice from trembling. "How will you help me get into Tsinghua?" "The same way I got that video." Ah, he meant using power, using influence. Kaitan looked straight into my eyes, his gaze completely devoid of joking. "Wrong, by letting you study in peace." I was stunned. He continued, his voice low. "Lin Lim, you're smart, but you're too naive. Do you think Haley Zia is the only obstacle? There will be other Haleys. There will be teachers who want to flatter her father. There will be those who are jealous of your scores. Can you fight all of them alone?" He took another step. "I won't help you cheat. I'll just clean up the garbage in your way. You only need to do one thing: study." My heart pounded. His words, every single one, hit my deepest fears. Today's exam swapping incident was a harsh blow to my confidence. Yes, without Kaitan, I would have been finished. "Why are you doing this?" "I already told you." He frowned, seemingly impatient. "I like you." He extended his hand. "Answer me, agree or not agree." I looked at his hand, long and bony, clearly. But this was the hand that had just crushed a book, and also the hand that had just provided evidence to save me. I took a breath. "I need time to think." Kaitan raised an eyebrow. He wasn't pleased, but he didn't force me. "All right, I'll give you a day. Now let's go deal with the trash." He didn't wait for my answer, grabbing my wrist and pulling me along. We returned to the physics office. The scene was even more chaotic than before. The homeroom teacher was also present. Haley Zia was still sitting on the floor, crying. "It wasn't me. Lin, you forced me. That's right, you colluded with Kaitan to frame me." She started to bite wildly. I looked at her coldly. "Haley Zia, the video is still there." Kaitan, the homeroom teacher, trembled as he approached. You see about this. How about we?" Kaitan raised one finger. "Expel her immediately. Announce it to the entire school." "That's impossible," the physics teacher cried out. "Her father is a sponsor." 2. Kai-tan cut him off. He pulled out his phone. I'll call her father and ask him if he wants his daughter to go to the police station for defamation and destruction of exam papers, or if he wants to come himself and complete the withdrawal procedures. Haley Zia's face went white. She stopped crying. Teacher, Kai-tan looked at the homeroom teacher. Choose. The homeroom teacher froze for 5 seconds. Finally, he staggered. Expel her. Kai-tan put away his phone. He pulled me away. Your business is done. Back to class. He pulled me out of the office. As we passed Haley Zia, I heard her screaming wildly, but I didn't look back. When Kai-tan deliberately walked with me back to 12A1, the entire class fell silent. The news of Haley's expulsion must have spread. The looks they gave me now were no longer disdain or hatred, but fear. Kai-tan didn't enter the classroom. He just stood at the door, looking at me. Go in, wait for me after school. Then he left. I walked back to my seat. Haley Zia's desk was still there, but she had been taken away. The class representative who had slammed the table and cursed me yesterday now kept his head down, not daring to look up. Ellen, he stammered, about yesterday, we didn't know. I put my backpack down. It's fine, focus on studying. I was cold. I had no obligation to forgive those who had killed me with their words. My phone vibrated. It was Chloe Zhao. OMG, girl, the tables have turned. The century's biggest reversal. Haley Zia was really expelled. Her dad came to make a scene, but the principal didn't dare to do anything. I heard Kai-tan intervened. What kind of divine being are you? Kai-tan went against a sponsor for you. I texted back, it's a long story, I'm still confused too. Kai-tan's message, asleep yet? No, I replied. Are you crazy, top 10, do you even know what your rank is? 780, 800. 780th place, so what, there are still 20 people below me. I was furious, you're not joking, are you? I'm not joking, I say it, I do it. Why? The other side was silent for a long time. Because of you, and because of your Tsinghua. My heart skipped a beat. Go to sleep. Tomorrow at 8 a.m. I'll come over. Prepare your 10th grade physics textbook. 10th grade? You're completely clueless from 10th grade. Sleep. I clutched my phone, unsure whether to laugh or cry. The next morning was the weekend. Promptly at 8 a.m. the doorbell rang. I opened the door. Kai-tan. He wasn't wearing a shirt, just a black t-shirt and athletic pants. Still handsome, but sleepy. Come in, I said. He yawned, came in too early. I choked, you said 8 a.m. My father walked out of his study, clearing his throat. Ahem. Kai-tan immediately stood up straight. Good morning, sir. Study in the living room, my father ordered, throwing open the study door. I'll supervise. Yes, sir. Kai-tan was obedient. We sat at the dining table. My father sat on the living room sofa, reading the newspaper, but his eyes kept darting our way. I opened the 10th grade physics book. Where do you want to start? Kai-tan scratched his head. From the very first lesson. Seriously, brother? I thought. We'll start with Newton's laws. I took a breath. I lectured. He slumped onto the table and fell asleep. I angrily poked his back with my pen. Kai-tan. He vaguely lifted his head. Huh, done yet? My father in the living room cleared his throat. Kai-tan. Kai-tan immediately sat upright. Yes, sir. I looked at him. Do you really want to study? He answered directly. Then, why did you agree to my father's condition? Kai-tan looked up. He didn't look at me. He looked at my father, who was pretending to read the newspaper. Because I want to come to your house officially and properly. My father, a professor, how could he not understand the implication of that statement? He wanted to use the top 10 as a challenge for Kai-tan, but Kai-tan was using the top 10 as the most legitimate reason to appear openly before my parents under the guise of tutoring. My father cleared his throat, clearly flustered. Officially and properly, you think. I quickly cut him off, fearing my father would say something even more provoking. He already agreed. Let's just study. I glared at Kai-tan. He shrugged, an innocent expression on his face. My father was clearly displeased. He retreated to the sofa, picked up the newspaper to cover his face, but I knew 100% he was secretly observing us through a small hole in the paper. The atmosphere was suffocating. Let's start again. I took a deep breath and rattled off an explanation. It's exactly like this, understand? Kai Tan rested his chin on his hand. Don't understand. What's there not to understand? I almost yelled. Lin Lim, my father's voice echoed from behind the newspaper. Teaching requires patience. If your friend doesn't understand, you must explain in detail. I restrained myself, I gritted my teeth. Explaining again. Kai Tan frowned, as if in pain. Understood, means you want to hit me. I choked, my father cleared his throat. Focus. That entire morning was a disaster. Kai Tan wasn't just clueless, he was like a black hole of knowledge. I'd lecture on lesson 1, he'd ask about lesson 10. I'd explain force, he'd ask about black holes. Kai Tan, that's not on the exam syllabus. I'm curious. I was helpless. At noon, my mother finished cooking and called us to eat. My father looked at Kai Tan, who was stretching and yawning. How's your studying going? Kai Tan very politely stood up. Sir, Lin explains very well, I roughly understood. Roughly, I almost threw my chopsticks at him. He fell asleep 8 times. Good, my father nodded. Eat, continue studying this afternoon. Kai Tan was stunned. This afternoon too. You want to get into the top 10 in 2 months from 780th place. Do you think 3 hours of study a day is enough? My father said coldly. Kai Tan looked at me, I looked at him. Both of us saw despair in each other's eyes. After lunch, I wearily slumped onto the table. I need a nap. Study again at 2 p.m. All right, my father went for his nap. My mother went to wash dishes. Kai Tan didn't leave. He slumped onto the dining table opposite me, asleep. I looked at him. Even asleep, he was handsome. Long, curling eyelashes, a straight nose. Not like a school leader, nor like a failing student, like a tired sculpture. I took out my phone and scrolled through the school forum. The news of Haley Zia's expulsion was still top 1, but there was a new top 2. School leader Kai Tan being tutored by academic goddess at her home. Accompanied by a secretly taken photo from the window of the opposite building must be one of his fanatical fans. The photo showed me poking his back with a pen. Comments, OMG, a change of pace, the school leader is being disciplined, the academic ace is so cool, daring to bully even Kai Tan. I think it's more like playful flirting. Look at Kai's eyes. I quickly turned off my phone. I looked at the pile of advanced physics homework I was working on. This was a city-level Olympic exam problem, which I used for mental training. I was stuck on a quantum mechanics problem. Where is the mistake? This torsion moment, it can't possibly calculate the BR constant, I muttered. I chewed on the end of my pen. Reference frame. A deep, sleepy voice mumbled. I jumped, looking up. Kai Tan was still slumped on the table, eyes closed. What did you say? He didn't move. Kai Tan, I nudged him. Huh? He vaguely lifted his head, eyes red from sleep. What's wrong? Time to study again. Did you just say something? I stared at him. He rubbed his eyes. Say what? I was sleeping. I suspect you just said, reference frame. Kai Tan frowned. You must have misheard, or maybe I was talking in my sleep. I dreamt I was so tired from your lecturing. He slumped back down. I was half believing, half doubting. Reference frame. I returned to the problem. If I didn't use the lab reference frame but used the center of mass reference frame instead. I picked up my pen and recalculated. 10 minutes later, asterisk whoosh asterisk, the last stroke. It was exactly the BR constant. I was stunned, my whole body going cold. I had been stuck on this Olympic problem for 2 days, unable to solve it. Just one word, reference frame, from him, and I had found the key. Just then, Kai Tan's phone on the table vibrated. The screen lit up. Caller ID? Chairman Tan, I gasped. This was his father's name, the chairman of the Tan group. Kai Tan immediately lifted his head, his sleepiness gone. His eyes instantly became cold and distant. He picked up the phone, stood up, and walked out onto the balcony. He didn't close the door. My father was still asleep. My mother was in her room. I stood at the kitchen door, holding my breath. Kai Tan's voice was no longer lazy nor polite. It was icy. What is it? The other side said something. I'm not coming back, Kai Tan said. I'm busy. He paused, then chuckled, a sarcastic laugh. Busy studying. Surprised, Dad, do you even care if I study or not? You just worry about your project on East Street. Your son is a piece of trash. Haven't you known that for a long time? Whether I'm ranked first or last, have you ever cared? His voice, in the end, carried an extreme weariness and loneliness. Don't call me again. He hung up. He stood on the balcony for a long time, unmoving. My heart pounded. I understood. It was all just a play. A play he put on for his father. He deliberately became a piece of trash to see if his father would care about him. And my father's top 10 challenge had coincidentally become a new tool for him. He turned back inside and caught me standing at the kitchen door. Our eyes met. The coldness on his face hadn't yet faded. He looked at me, undisguised. You heard, didn't you? I nodded. He gave a faint smile. So what if you heard? Scared? Scared I'm not a failing student, but a psychopath. I stepped forward. You don't have to aim for the top 10. He frowned. What did you say? That deal. I looked straight into his eyes. You don't have to do it. You don't have to work so hard. I didn't know what I was saying. I just felt that the boy in front of me, he didn't deserve to be like this. Kai Tan stared at me, stunned. This was the first time the domineering expression on his face disappeared, replaced by bewilderment. Lin Lim, you too? My father suddenly opened his bedroom door. It's 2 p.m., time to study. Both Kai Tan and I jumped. Kai Tan immediately composed his face. He turned to my father, bowing. Yes, sir. He returned to the table and sat down. Let's study. I looked at him. He had returned to the lazy expression of a failing student. He continued to act, even though I already knew. All right, I sat down to study. But this time, everything was different. This problem, I pointed to an exercise. Solve it. Kai Tan picked up his pen and ruffled his hair. Too hard, you explain it. I looked at him. Are you sure? He looked at me. Sure. All right, I took another blank piece of paper. I won't explain this problem. I'll explain this asterisk problem. I wrote out the Olympic problem from earlier. Solve this. If you can solve this, I'll let you off for today. Kai Tan looked at me. My father was behind him, reading the newspaper. He smiled. You're making it difficult for me, Professor Lim. He picked up the pen. This problem, using the lab reference frame is fine, but it requires a triple integral. Troublesome. He knew. His handwriting wasn't the messy scribble of a failing student, but extremely sharp and powerful. He wrote quickly. 5 minutes later, he pushed the paper over. Done. Check it. I looked at the paper. His solution was even more concise and intelligent than my own method. I looked up. My father was also gaping, his newspaper falling to the floor. Kai Tan shrugged, leaning back in his chair. Professor Lim, he looked at my father, the top 10 deal, is it still valid? He looked at me. My father, Professor Lim, who had prided himself on his IQ his entire life, was now staring at the solved Olympic problem. The newspaper in his hand had fallen to the floor without him realizing. The air in the living room grew thick. I was also stunned. This person whom I had lectured 3 times without understanding, had just used a triple integral method that I had never even considered to solve the most difficult problem. I felt as if I had just been tricked, a spectacular deception. Kai Tan maintained his relaxed pose, leaning back in his chair, a lazy expression on his face, but his eyes were sharp as knives. He didn't look at me but directly at my father. Professor Lim, he repeated, top 10, how about the deal I made with you? My father finally regained his composure. He took a deep breath. He wasn't someone who easily admitted defeat. You, my father cleared his throat, picking up the newspaper as if still calm. You tricked the entire school, and you tricked me. Kai Tan shrugged. I didn't trick anyone, I just don't like to study. Don't like to study? My father almost laughed out loud. 780th out of 800, and you call that not liking to study? Kai Tan nodded, annoyingly honest. This school's exam is too easy, I always just randomly guess. 780th place is because of good luck, I just happen to guess a bit too much. Oh my God, is this a human speaking? I felt my chest tighten with indignation. I struggled, staying up late and waking up early, and I just happened to guess a bit too much. My father was clearly choked by this statement. He looked at Kai Tan, then at me. He realized that trying to challenge Kai Tan with academics was his mistake. "All right," my father suddenly said. "Very good, Kai Tan, you are very good." He raised an eyebrow. "You made a deal. A man must keep his word." My father stood up and paced. "You said top 10 is too easy, right?" "Yes," Kai Tan remained nonchalant. Then, my father stopped, pointing directly at his face. "We're upgrading the deal, not top 10, but top 1 in the entire grade." I gasped. "Dad, you're making it too hard." "He can do it." My father cut me off, then turned to me. "And you, Lin Lim, must also maintain your top 1 spot." I was stunned. Two people at top 1, how is that possible? "Why not?" My father looked at Kai Tan. "If, in the next mock exam, one of you gets top 1 and the other gets top 2, or one of you drops in rank, or if you," he pointed at Kai Tan, "don't make it into the top 2, then you immediately get out of my house and never see my daughter again. Agree?" This was a deadly blow. My father wasn't just challenging Kai Tan, but also testing whether his presence would affect me. He was forcing us to compete against each other. I looked at Kai Tan, waiting for him to refuse. This was an unreasonable request. Kai Tan looked at me, then he looked at my father. He smiled. "Deal," he nodded, "but I'll be top 1, Lin will be top 2. "What?" I glared at him. "What did you say?" Kai Tan turned to me and winked. "You losing to me by 1 rank isn't losing face." "You," my father was also angry, "you dare to set conditions." "Not conditions, just facts." Kai Tan stood up, gathering his books, the 10th grade physics book he hadn't even opened past the 2nd page. He bowed to my father. "Goodbye, sir, see you next weekend." He paused. "Ah, no," he looked at me. Tomorrow is Monday, school." As soon as the door closed, I immediately turned to my father. "Dad, why did you agree? He's clearly a monster." My father slumped onto the sofa, a complex expression on his face. "I misjudged him, but Lin, do you see it? His eyes when he looks at you." I was stunned. What eyes? A kind of undisguised possessiveness, but also absolute protection. My father muttered, "I don't know if he's good or bad, but if I'm going to have a wolf near my daughter, I'd rather have him right in front of my eyes." "I don't quite understand." "Go study," my father picked up the newspaper. "Top 1, if you let him surpass you, I'll break your legs." Why am I so miserable, guys? That night I received a message from Kai Tan. "The Olympic problem, understood." I was angry. "You tricked me." "Tricked you? I really am clueless about 10th grade stuff. Those things I learned in 8th grade, forgetting them is normal." I wanted to smash my phone. "You lied to your father just because you wanted him to care." The other side was silent for a long time. "Yeah, childish, right?" My heart softened. "No, childish, just a little silly." "Yeah, I'm silly. Only you are smart. Tomorrow at 7 a.m., I'll be waiting downstairs. This time, I'll drive you to race for top 1. The next morning, I walked downstairs. He was there, still with the black motorcycle. I got on. This time, I proactively wrapped my arms around his waist. He visibly stiffened for a second. "Let's go," I said. He didn't say anything, but I heard him chuckle softly. The bike sped off. But when we arrived at school, Kai Tan didn't stop at the gate. He drove straight into the schoolyard. The security guard blew his whistle loudly. "Hey, you stop." Kai Tan slammed on the brakes right in front of the 12th grade building. He got off the bike. "Kai Tan, what are you doing?" I panicked. He didn't answer. He walked straight to the academic affairs office. I rushed after him. He kicked open the door to the academic affairs office, startling the dean of students. "Kai Tan, I'm transferring classes." Kai Tan threw a form onto the desk. "I want to transfer to 12A1. The dean of students adjusted his glasses. "Are you joking? You're 780th place, demanding to enter 12A1? You!" Kai Tan slammed another paper down the physics exam he had retaken earlier. A score of 100, along with the principal's signature. The dean of students was stunned. "The principal said," Kai Tan stated coldly, "if you can't arrange it, you can retire early." Half an hour later, during math class, my 12A1 teacher was enthusiastically lecturing when the classroom door opened. My homeroom teacher walked in, his face drawn. "Class, we have a new transfer student." The entire class was bewildered. The college entrance exam was coming up. Who would transfer classes now? Kai Tan walked in. The entire 12A1, including me, collectively gaped. Haley Zia had been expelled, so the desk next to mine was empty. Kai Tan, under the horrified gazes of 50 people, walked straight down and threw his backpack onto that empty desk. He sat down and turned to look at me, who was frozen in place. He smirked. "Hello, deskmate. From now on, 24/7 tutoring." My life officially entered a new, disastrous chapter. My deskmate Kai Tan was not a good student at all. During history class, I was diligently taking notes. He slumped over asleep. During literature class, I was analyzing asterisk Kai Fio asterisk. He was drawing my picture in his notebook. During physics class, "Teacher, for this problem, we apply Newton's laws." Kai Tan looked up. "Teacher, you're lecturing incorrectly. This problem requires differential equations. Your method is too convoluted." The teacher trembled. "Then, Kai Tan, you come up and solve it." Annoying. He tore off a piece of paper, solved the problem, threw it onto the teacher's desk, then slumped back down to sleep. 12A1, from being the quietest academic class, became a circus. But strangely, my scores increased. For difficult math problems I couldn't solve, he'd just glance at them. "Your thinking is wrong here. You're turning something simple into something complex." He taught me to look at problems from a different angle. A genius's angle. 2 months flew by in a flash. Tomorrow was the final mock exam, the exam that would decide the deal. The atmosphere in the class was tense. The entire school held its breath, waiting. Betting forums were active, predicting whether Kai Tan could really make it into the top 2. The odds were 1,000 to 1. After school, Kai Tan and I walked out together. "Nervous?" he asked. "Nervous," I admitted, "because I'm afraid I won't get top 1 and you'll steal it from me." He chuckled. "If you win, I'll kiss you. What if you lose?" "I'll still kiss you." "Kai Tan." We were laughing and joking when a pure black Rolls-Royce stopped smoothly in front of the school gate. A man in a suit with elegant gold-rimmed glasses stepped out of the car. Kai Tan saw him, and the smile on his face immediately froze. "Young master," the man bowed, "Chairman Tan has summoned you." Kai Tan frowned. "I'm busy." "The chairman knows." The man, his father's personal secretary, looked at me, his eyes cold. "The chairman said he knows you're playing games with this study deal." Kai Tan pulled me behind him. "What does he want?" The secretary gave a faint smile. "The chairman said, if you dare to do well in this exam, he cannot guarantee that Miss Lim's academic record will be smoothly submitted to Tsinghua." My head buzzed. "He has arranged a scholarship for you to study abroad at West Point Military Academy," the secretary continued. "For this exam, the chairman ordered that you must fail. If you dare to enter the top 100, you understand the consequences, let alone top 2 or top 1. He looked at me. "Miss Lim will lose her eligibility to apply for university under the charge of organized cheating." The air around us seemed to be sucked dry. The secretary's threat was not a joke. Organized cheating. These 4 words were enough to completely destroy my 12 years of hard study, slamming the door to Tsinghua shut right before my eyes. My hands and feet felt cold. I trembled. Kai Tan, who always maintained a lazy demeanor, was now completely rigid. The coldness emanating from him was even more terrifying than winter. "You," he growled, each word distinct. "What did you just say? Repeat it." The secretary showed no fear. He just adjusted his gold-rimmed glasses. "Young master, you know better than anyone. Chairman Tan never jokes. You are an intelligent person. You know how to choose." Choose. One side was my future, my dream. The other was his freedom. His father was using me as a hostage. Kai Tan clenched my hand tightly. "Get out." "The exam starts at 8 a.m. tomorrow," the secretary said calmly. "The chairman will await your good news, and the plane ticket to West Point has been booked." He bowed politely, then got into the Rolls-Royce and glided away in silence, leaving Kai Tan and me in the storm. "Kai Tan," I stammered, my voice trembling. You. I didn't know what to say. Should I tell him not to take the exam or to ignore me? Kai Tan said nothing. He pulled me onto the motorcycle. He didn't take me home, he took me to a deserted overpass. The night wind howled. He took off his helmet but remained on the bike. I stood in front of him. He was silent for a very long time. Lin Lim, he suddenly spoke, his voice hoarse. Are you scared? I nodded, scared. Do you trust me? I looked into his eyes that were always arrogant, always domineering, but now held a fierce struggle. Trust you, I do. He smiled, a tired smile. My father, all his life, he only wants to control me. He hates that I don't follow the path he draws. He hates that I have something he can't control. He looked at me. You are that thing. My heart ached. Go home, he said. Get a good night's sleep. Tomorrow, just take the exam as usual. What about you? I clutched his sleeve. What are you going to do? Kai-tan, you can't do anything reckless. Tsinghua is important, but you can't because of me just. What? He cut me off. Be led by him my whole life? He stroked my hair. You just need to remember that you must do well in the exam, hold your top one spot. I'll take care of the rest. He started the engine. I'll take you home. That night, I couldn't sleep. The next morning, 8 a.m., the bell signaling the start of the exam rang. I sat in exam room 12A1. Kai-tan sat right beside me. The atmosphere was taut. My father was surely waiting for the result of the deal. Chairman Tan's secretary was probably waiting somewhere too. I looked at Kai-tan. He had his eyes closed, leaning back in his chair as if asleep. The invigilator distributed the papers. Begin. I picked up my pen but couldn't write. I glanced at Kai-tan. He didn't move. He wasn't holding a pen. He wasn't turning over the exam paper. He was just looking out the window. Was he going to submit a blank paper? Was he going to accept defeat? No. I bit my lip, tore off a corner of my eraser, and wrote 3 words on it. I trust you. I gently pushed the eraser across to his desk. He looked down and saw it. He was stunned. He turned to look at me. I nodded at him, my gaze firm. Just do it. He stared at me, his eyes reddening. Then he picked up his pen and he started to write. I had never seen anyone take an exam like Kai-tan. He didn't think. His pen glided across the paper like a machine. He wasn't solving problems. He was obliterating the exam. I smiled and returned to my own paper. 2 days of exams ended. The day the results were announced, the entire school was in an uproar. The bulletin board was surrounded. Kai-tan and I stood at the outer circle, waiting for Chloe Zhao to squeeze in to see. Ah, she screamed, turning to look at us as if we were monsters. Top 1 in the entire grade? Chloe trembled, pointing at Kai-tan. 757.50, perfect score. The entire school exploded. No one could believe their eyes. Top 2, Chloe yelled again. Lin Lim, 749.750. I sighed in relief. Kai-tan turned to look at me, a smirk on his face. Well, you lost to me. I glared at him. You did well, very well. Excellent, a voice boomed, my father. He didn't know when he had appeared behind us. He wasn't angry, he was smiling. Kai-tan, my father clapped him hard on the shoulder. 750, you shocked me too much. This deal, you 2 win. My father looked at me. Lin, 749. Good, only losing to this kid isn't losing face. My face flushed. Just then, the black Rolls-Royce appeared again. The secretary stepped out, this time his face no longer calm. Young master, he almost hissed. You're insane. The chairman is furious. Miss Lim's file. I clenched my fists. Call him, Kai-tan said. The secretary was stunned. What did you say? I said, call my father. Kai-tan snatched the secretary's phone, dialed, and put it on speaker. Kai-tan, Chairman Tan's voice roared from the other end. You dare to defy me? You think I wouldn't dare to do anything to that girl? You dare? Kai-tan's voice was icy cold. You touch Lin's file, and I immediately relinquish my inheritance rights to the Tan group. The secretary staggered. My father was stunned. The entire schoolyard fell silent. On the other end of the line, Chairman Tan was also silent. You think, Kai-tan continued, you forced me to West Point to easily make me your successor to the Tan group? You're wrong. What you care about is that corporation. But what I care about, he took my hand and raised it for everyone to see, is her. You, Chairman Tan roared. He was a king. He wasn't used to being threatened. You can try, Kai-tan said. You ruin Lin and I will become a true hooligan. I will make the Tan group name, which you are most proud of, a laughingstock for this entire city. Tell me, can you bear to see your only son become someone with no education, no career? This was a critical blow. Chairman Tan could abandon his son, but he couldn't abandon his pride and his sole heir. Silence. A prolonged silence. Finally, Chairman Tan gritted his teeth. You win! Beep beep, he hung up. The secretary's face was ashen. He looked at Kai Tan, then at me. He bowed without a word, got into the car, and disappeared. Kai Tan turned back to me. It's done. I looked at him, tears streaming down my face. Not from fear, but from emotion. What are you crying for? He frowned, reaching out to wipe my tears. Crying makes you ugly. My father, standing nearby, cleared his throat. Ahem, Kai Tan. Yes, sir. Kai Tan immediately turned to him politely. You did very well, my father said. The deal is concluded. As for pursuing Lin, I held my breath. My father looked at me, then at Kai Tan. You two figure it out yourselves, but, he growled, you must both get into Tsinghua. Understood? He turned his back, hands behind his back, and walked away, mumbling, 750. What a monster. My daughter 749. Not bad either. My father had agreed. The schoolyard began to buzz again. Everyone looked at us with admiration and awe. Kai Tan pulled me away from the crowd. Lin Lim. Yes, I mumbled. You still owe me an answer. What answer? I pretended to be oblivious. He pressed me against the bulletin board. My proposal, be my girlfriend. I looked at him. In the sunlight, he was unreasonably handsome. I stood on my tiptoes, wrapped my arms around his neck. I agree. Kai Tan was stunned. This was the first time I had seen this expression on him. You just said. I didn't let him finish. I leaned in and kissed his lips. I said I agree. He was stunned for 3 seconds, then he tightened his grip around my waist, pulling me into a deep kiss. Lin Lim, he whispered when he released me, his forehead resting against mine. Saying that means you're mine. I know, I smiled. He looked towards the school gate where the slogan, determined to get into Tsinghua University, hung. He looked at me, his eyes burning with fire. Let's go together.